You will serve 10 days for contempt of court. Go now.
From wanting to fight the judge
That's what the laws of the state of Nevada.
to actually lunging at the judge mid-trial.
As Newsom throws more paper at him, Judge Rhymes single-handedly pins him onto the desk.
These are the most insane judge attacks of all time. Florida really never runs out of chaos. In Brevard County, a judge and a public defender actually ended up in a fistfight inside the courthouse. It started as a shouting match between Judge John Murphy and Assistant Public Defender Andrew Weinstock during a routine hearing, and ended with deputies having to step in.
And resisting, you have the public defender. Public defender, what do you want to do?
But they filed.
They have.
I'm not waiving.
All right, what do you want to do?
What do you want to do? I'm not waiving. If you want to set it for trial, set it for trial.
All right.
If you want to set it for docket sounding, set it for docket sounding. I'm not waiving in any case.
Things heated up when they argued over whether to waive the defendant's right to a speedy trial. Judge Murphy lost his temper and snapped, "You know, if I had a rock, I would throw it at you right now. Stop pissing me off, just sit down."
This is an
You know,
emergency
if I
created
had
by
a
the
rock,
state.
I would throw it at you right now.
You know, this is
Stop pissing me off. Just sit down. I'll take care of it. I don't need your help.
No,
sit
you know
down.
what? I'm the public defender. I have a right to be here, and I have a right to stand
I said
and represent
sit
my
down.
clients.
Weinstock held his ground, saying he had every right to be there and represent his client. That only made the judge angrier. Murphy then challenged him like they were in a bar fight, not a courtroom. "If you want to fight, let's go out back and I'll just beat your ass."
If you want to fight, let's go out back and I'll just beat
Let's go
your
out back.
ass.
The two walked out into a back hallway, out of sight of the cameras. You can't see the fight, but you can hear the loud thuds on the courtroom audio. People inside the courtroom looked uncomfortable, then actually clapped when it was over. According to Blaze Tredis, Weinstock's boss and the elected public defender, Weinstock expected the argument to continue, not a full-on fight. But Judge Murphy allegedly grabbed him by the collar and threw several punches. A few moments later, Murphy casually walked back into the courtroom, slightly out of breath, and said, "I will catch my breath eventually. Man, I'm an old man," before carrying on with his cases like nothing major had happened.
I will catch my breath eventually.
Despite how bad this looked, the judge wasn't arrested, and no criminal charges were filed at that time. Tredis did say his office would report the incident to the Florida bar, so the legal system would have to deal with it, one way or another. You'd think that only in Florida will a judge go and fight in the courtroom. But take a look at this judge from Pike County. He didn't even step outside.
Judge Rhymes then signals the family members to take seats.
This is Judge Aubrey Rhymes from Pike County Justice Court in Pike County, Mississippi, and things are about to go off the rails.
First up, we're in Pike County Justice Court in Pike, Mississippi. Sidney Newsom, who's handcuffed and shackled, is in front of Southern District Judge Aubrey Rhymes.
At the front of the courtroom stands Sidney Newsom, handcuffed, shackled, and facing a domestic violence charge. Newsom reviews some paperwork, even does a little dance, looking strangely relaxed for someone in his position.
He's facing a domestic violence charge. After reviewing some paperwork and doing a little dance, he appears relatively calm.
But that calm doesn't last. A transport officer taps on the table to keep him in line, and you can see the mood shift. Newsom suddenly looks agitated. Moments later, his mother and brother walk into the courtroom. He steps toward them briefly, almost like he's looking for reassurance, but the officer quickly motions him back into place. Judge Rhymes gestures for the family to sit down, trying to keep things orderly. On paper, the process is moving forward, but Newsom clearly isn't done. He suddenly starts arguing with the judge, his tone rising. Judge Rhymes doesn't entertain it for long. He immediately motions for Newsom to be removed from the courtroom, but Newsom has no intention of going quietly. As the officer tries to guide him toward the door, he snaps. First, he grabs a stack of papers from the desk and launches them at the judge. Pages explode across the room as two court clerks scramble away from the chaos, and Newsom's mother reacts in horror. The transport officer wrestles him to the ground, fighting to regain control, but Newsom manages to overpower her. He then snatches up a telephone and hurls it toward the judge, knocking over a computer monitor in the process. At this point, Judge Rimes has seen enough. Instead of retreating, the judge steps in. As Newsom continues throwing papers, Judge Rimes moves forward and physically pins him down on the desk, by himself. For a moment, it's the judge and the defendant locked in a struggle just feet from the bench. Newsom's brother rushes toward them as well, though it's unclear whether he's trying to calm things down or help restrain his sibling. Reinforcements finally arrive. 4 more transport officers stream into the courtroom, and together they manage to get control of the situation. One of them leads Newsom out of the room while the others help restore order. Judge Rimes returns to the bench, leans back in his chair, and the courtroom begins to reset. One clerk lifts the computer monitor back into place. Another starts gathering the scattered papers like they're putting the scene back together after a storm. As Newsom's brother is escorted out, the judge gets right back to business. The brother isn't charged with anything. Sidney Newsom, however, doesn't walk away untouched. He's hit with an additional charge of contempt of court and ends up serving 48 hours in jail on top of his existing case. While the judges willingly fought in the courtroom, this time a woman decided to fight the judge instead. This is Melissa Hardwick, and she is in Russell and Wayne County Family Court. Melissa Hardwick was there for a domestic violence hearing after her ex-husband filed an order against her. Things started out routine enough, with testimony about escalating problems since the start of the year. Melissa had already had a couple of arrests and had just gotten out of jail in April. But while her ex was calmly explaining the situation, Melissa suddenly erupted.
Personal life is
No.
your business. It has nothing to do with
Miss
your
Hardwick?
boys. No.
You will be held in contempt of this court if you become disruptive.
I don't care. I haven't done anything to this court.
Melissa interrupted the proceedings by insisting that her personal life was her own business and unrelated to the case. The judge cautioned her that continued disruption would result in contempt of court. Instead of backing down, Melissa grew more defiant, declaring that she had done nothing wrong to the court or to her ex-husband. That was enough. The judge ordered her arrested for contempt and sentenced her to 10 days in jail.
I haven't done anything to him.
She will be
It
arrested
doesn't
for
make
contempt
any-
of
It doesn't
court.
make any difference.
You will serve 10 days for contempt of court.
But things didn't stop there. Melissa tried to leap toward the judge, forcing deputies to step in and restrain her before she got too close. Even then, she kept yelling threats.
Go now.
Her outburst meant more trouble. She now faced additional criminal charges for making threats in open court. A new judge had to be appointed to handle the case. Eventually, Melissa was sentenced to 120 days in prison for her antics. But whatever a man can do, so can a woman. Instead, it's the other way around in this case.
Mr. Redden, is there anything you want to say on your own behalf before I pronounce sentence?
So basically, I would like to tell the courts, everyone here, like, based on my criminal history, like, I feel that, like, I shouldn't be, like, sent to prison for a second time.
Have you looked at your criminal history?
This is Deobra Redden, the man who made national headlines after vaulting over a courtroom bench and launching a full-on attack against Judge Mary Kay Holthus in Las Vegas, Nevada. The shocking moment unfolded on January 3, 2024, during what was supposed to be a routine sentencing for a felony battery case. Instead, Redden, 31, turned the courtroom into chaos. He's now facing 9 additional charges, including battery on a protected person causing substantial bodily harm and attempted murder of a victim over 60 years old.
Have you looked at your criminal history?
I've actually just, I looked at it.
I mean, you lived it, I
I
suppose.
just looked at it, yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know,
3 felonies, a gross, 9 misdemeanors, multiple DVs. Got a lot going on, sir.
As the judge began reading out his sentence, Redden suddenly lunged forward, sprinted toward the bench, and leaped over it in one motion. The video captures the moment he tackled Judge Holthus straight out of her chair. He then began swinging, punching her repeatedly, while shouting curses. According to reports, he slammed her head into the wall and even ripped out chunks of her hair, with 2 court marshals accidentally dispatched to the wrong courtroom. The attack lasted far longer than anyone could have imagined.
I appreciate that, but I think it's time that he gets a taste of something else because I just can't with that history. In accordance with the laws of the state of Nevada, this court...
Amid the chaos, 27-year-old law clerk Michael Lasso jumped into action, grabbing Redden and pulling him off the judge. His quick thinking likely saved her life, and he was later praised as a hero. Even he admitted the entire encounter felt unreal, the kind of scene you'd expect in a movie, not inside a courtroom. Months later, during his arraignment, Redden pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. His attorney said he suffers from paranoid schizophrenia and wasn't taking his medication, claiming he was out of his mind and unaware of his actions that day. Redden, who already had 3 previous felony convictions, remains in prison for the original battery charge, the case that ultimately led to one of the most violent courtroom outbursts in recent memory. In the next case, the defendant attacks verbally the judge. This is Adam Satterley. During a court hearing on drug charges, he decided to call the judge a punk asshole N-word as deputies were taking him out of the courtroom.
Thank you, Sheriff. Thank you, Ms. Allen. You'll note that.
Satterley was in a Jefferson County courtroom on a drug case when Judge Olu Stevens revoked his bond. As deputies started to escort him into custody, Satterley muttered the slur in the hallway right outside the courtroom, loud enough for people to hear.
It's 5,000, 10%. You'll have the bond returned to you. I've signed this order here once you get it, and we'll, since you get it, thanks.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Judge Stevens heard what was said and immediately had Satterley brought back in. He confronted him about the comment, made it clear that kind of language was not going to fly in his courtroom, and found him in contempt of court. For that outburst, the judge added an extra 60 days in jail.
Is there something that you wish to say to me?
No, it's my brother.
Oh, is that your brother? Because
Yes,
I
sir.
heard you say a racial epithet.
No, I didn't mean it like that.
Oh, you didn't mean it like
No.
that? Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to hold you in contempt of court for having said that. And you don't speak those words in here.
Yes,
and
sir.
that word particularly,
Yes,
you
sir.
don't use that word. I'm going to give you 60 days for having used that word. Hold you in contempt right now for having done it in this courtroom. It's disrespectful. Don't ever do it again. Thank you, Sheriff. Thank you, Ms. Allen. You'll note that.
Clearly upset by the slur, Judge Stevens asked Satterley if he had anything he wanted to say. By that point, Satterley's attorney had already left after the bond hearing. Satterley tried to explain that he wasn't talking about the judge, claiming the comment was meant for his brother instead, and that he didn't mean it in the way it sounded. The judge didn't buy it. He told Satterley that using that kind of word in a courthouse, especially in his courtroom, was completely unacceptable. He made it clear this wasn't just about hurt feelings, it was about respect and basic standards in a court of law. Judge Stevens kept the 60-day contempt sentence in place and warned Satterley never to behave like that again in his courtroom. What's worse than someone having an outburst in court? 6 teenagers turning the courtroom into a complete chaos. These are 6 teenagers who turned a courtroom into absolute chaos. They were facing charges for auto theft and burglary, and the drama started long before they ever saw the judge. The madness began out on the streets when they were chased in a stolen car and turned it into a full-on spectacle.
Moments live, a stolen car leading cops on a high-speed pursuit through Broward County, and then the suspects bailing out, even hopping into another vehicle before bailing out again in Lauderhill. We followed the foot chase through backyards and over fences until deputies cuffed 2 of the 15-year-olds.
It almost looked like they were trying to film their own low-budget Fast and Furious scene. After the news footage aired, the mother of one of the kids who had escaped decided she'd had enough and turned her son in. When they ended up in court, things didn't calm down. They got worse. The hearing had to be stopped because the whole courtroom erupted into chaos.
A wild scene in juvenile court. Friends and family of 4 teens that took police on a chase, acting out.
He grabbing me too tight. That's my man, get that off me, what the man, chill out, right now. Right now, chill out, hush your mouth. Hush your mouth, I said it.
It all began when the suspected driver, Maurice Thomas, became upset when a judge ordered him to spend the next 21 days in detention.
The circus really kicked off when the juveniles heard their sentences and didn't like what they got. They started talking back and showing major disrespect to the judge, and then it all went off the rails.
Who also created this wild outburst. BSO deputies cleared the courtroom to deal with the unruly, foul-mouthed crowd. 6 were handcuffed following their actions, which brought the court proceedings to a standstill. All 6 are juveniles themselves.
In the end, 6 of them were taken out of the courtroom in handcuffs. The judge kept full control and started handing out punishments. 2 were sent to juvenile detention for 5 days. Of the 3 involved in the car chase who were present in court, 2 got 21 days in juvenile detention, and 1 got 21 days of house arrest. And that wasn't even the end of it. More charges were expected to follow. What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments down below.